Hello everybody, welcome. Today is May 30th, 2019. Dave has a box. What's in the box, Dave?
It's your wife's head.
My wife's head, Dave. Why would you do that?
I don't know. So yeah, oh, Brian has a chat open.
So far, nobody said anything.
Yeah, so I had the phone all set up perfectly in landscape mode, which is how you record video. And then it said to rotate it in portrait mode to stream. So I rotated it in portrait stream. Then it said, no, you need to rotate it in the landscape mode.
I guess whatever way you have it, it wants you to do the other. That's the way.
So I had to rip apart what I set up, and then I was like, okay, and then it went live. I'm like, I'm not ready to go live. So hopefully,
And hi, Brandy.
probably nobody's gonna watch the rest of this video. Oh, I'm not plugged in either. Sorry for your ears. Sorry.
In a few weeks, Brandy. Brandy asked, when's the new computer coming?
It's supposed to be 7 to 10 days as of Friday.
Business days.
So probably the second week in June. So anyway, so that's exciting. I mean, this mess. So I'm streaming on my phone because it's pretty much all I have. Hopefully there's not a lot of background noise. I'm using the same audio interface that I use normally. It does come with an adapter for the phone, so that's cool. So at least we're not running audio off of the phone. And it doesn't look like phones used to look like a long time ago, which is terrible. Sorry, you can see off the set over there, it's a much wider lens. And so today we're talking about this channel. First is I'm not going to pound you over the head with it like I did for the subscribers, but
Brandy says turn the vocals up and they're kind of quiet.
oh, okay, I don't know how to do that. How's this? Better?
Check. Let us know, Brandy.
So, wow, what a mess. No one's going to want to watch this thing.
Well, sometimes the train wrecks are kind of funny.
So, I don't know if we're loud enough yet.
Well, let's just go, and if we're loud enough, then we'll be okay.
Well, this says we are. Hopefully, I'm not blowing this out now. I had no way to monitor it, basically.
Yeah.
Would you stop walking around?
Well, come down.
So we'll start with park announcements, and that is at City Walk. You can buy 2 movie tickets and get your parking reimbursed.
Yeah.
Because they finally realized that people probably don't want to pay $25 to park to see a movie when they can park for free at any other movie theater. So it's a little complicated. You have to purchase a minimum of 2 tickets. Bring your receipt from your parking to the movie theater, and then they reimburse you there. I don't think that they put that money towards your movie ticket. That would be, logical. Stella, stop pushing your way through. Oh my God. Train wreck.
But Brandy says the vocals are better.
Okay.
Hi, Merlo.
So, and it sounds a little complicated to me, but it's a way you eventually don't have to pay for parking. Now, of course, after 6 o'clock, on most days, it's free to park in City Walk. So if you want to go to a movie after 6 o'clock, you can go by yourself. You don't need to worry about you don't need to worry about parking.
Yeah, I have been in at the City Walk Theater early in the afternoon and noticed there was a pretty good sized crowd there. So I don't think the theater's hurting for money, but like I think there's.
Yeah, and obviously if you're an annual pass holder, you get, depending on which level, you get free parking.
Yeah.
People like Brian, team members go, and we already get free parking, so it depends. Now, this of course is not valid during things like Halloween Horror Nights, where you still have to pay for parking, but most nights it is, you can get reimbursed.
Cool.
Also, what happened on a few days ago on Tuesday? Right?
Tuesday. What happened on Tuesday, Rory?
I don't know. It's right in front of you.
Oh, it was the 20th anniversary of Islands of Adventure.
On May 28th, 1999, almost at 2000. May 20th, 1999, Islands of Adventure opened to the public. Now, they did originally have a preview center in what is now the extended queue for The Revenge of the Mummy. It was a confrontation originally, but they didn't use that area for confrontation. That wasn't the extended queue. I think the extended queue was outdoors initially, and then people are like, it's Florida, it's hot, yeah. So then, but they didn't move. They didn't make it indoors for a while because it was nothing. It was a facade. Then it became the 20th anniversary. Actually, no. Sorry, it was a interactive video thing where you would. It's kind of like what they do now with video. I think in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, where you were going up against a green screen and you get inserted into videos. It was a whole thing like that. I forget what the whole movie. I forget the exact name of it. And then it became the preview center for Islands of Adventure, and then it became the indoor extended queue for when it switched over to Revenge of the Mummy. And of course, during Halloween Horror Nights, that same space is now used as the tribute store. So then there was a soft opening. I don't believe there was a soft opening for annual pass holders, because I don't think I don't know if 20 years ago that was as much of a thing as it is now. I'm pretty sure they had annual passes, but I don't know. I don't know if there were perks for them. But the grand opening was pretty cool for Islands of Adventure. Of course, Steven Spielberg was there, and a few other important people. Tom Williams, who was at the time, I believe, the president of Universal Orlando, it became Universal Orlando. He now is higher up in the company, but he was at that point. And even Michael Eisner came a year after it opened, the guy who stole all the ideas from Universal to go ahead and build what was then MGM Studios, which is why they look the same.
Yeah.
But a lot of things were taken from Epcot when they were building Islands of Adventure, including something that was supposed to be part of Animal Kingdom but never did, which was called Beastly Kingdom. That's now the Lost Continent.
Yeah.
What's left of the Lost Continent. So that was the thing. Also, sometime earlier this year was the 20th anniversary of City Walk.
And seeing old pictures of Universal, where the parking lot goes right up to the archways,
Yeah.
it just looks so bizarre to me because like I've always been used to City Walk, and
then there were some limos that pulled up right to the front gate of Universal on the opening day.
yeah,
Now next year it's going to be an even bigger thing, because it's going to be the 30th anniversary of Universal Orlando and the 10th anniversary of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So I think they're kind of saving up for that.
yeah. Brandy's got two comments. One, she's like, I'm eager to learn if both of you got cast an interest in. We'll get to that, Brandy.
Yep.
And the second is totally dumb that Universal didn't capitalize on the anniversary. At least sell some merch.
I have no answers for that.
Yeah. Above our pay grade.
Yeah. So yeah, because we're on the phone, luckily Brian was able to. Oh, here we go. Now I'm able to get that as well.
You have an ad, Dave. And what's it for? It's for Universal.
So but basically, I'm getting paid by Universal twice when someone clicks on an ad for Universal for my videos. So yeah, I don't understand it as well. So we're actually streaming this to our laptops just because that's the only way we can see the chat because the phone screen is facing that way. It's probably on there as well, but it'd be
yeah.
So it really should be panned, but okay, so that was the 20th anniversary, and recently also there was the 30th anniversary of what's now called Hollywood Studios. I'm sure you saw that on my Orlando channel. I was able to go to that, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was hoping they would do something a little bit more like that for the 20th of Islands of Adventure, but
I really think they're going to wait for 25 based on what they did at Universal, but I mean, I don't know.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
They might have done something for the 20th anniversary of Universal Orlando, but we weren't here for it.
Well, we were, technically.
We were there, but we were here one night.
Yeah. We went to Horror Nights 20, so what we saw in the archway was something for Horror Nights, so we don't know if they did a big thing for Universal's 20th.
Yeah, it would have been earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And they might have had some merchandise or something, but if you know, leave a comment below if you know whether or not Universal had something for the 20th anniversary. Even though I know why we didn't come up here before, it's kind of a bummer that we lived here. We lived in Florida starting in 1997, and it took us until 2010 to get up here. And we missed out on a lot of things.
Yeah,
we missed out on Islands, some of the stuff from Islands of Adventure when it first opened, a lot of attractions and things, and we couldn't make it up here.
I was faintly aware of Universal back then.
Well, I knew about Universal when it opened.
Yeah.
In 1989 is I think they probably started to advertise for it, and then 1990 was when it opened, and I wanted to go to Fright Nights.
Yeah. I didn't have a way of getting there, so I kind of put it out of my mind. I was like,
we both lived in the wrong state to get there.
Yeah.
To get here, so. Starting in '97, we were at least in the state, but it was still a bit of a drive, and emission and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like we said before, I wish we knew us back then, because I wish we knew team members who could have comped us in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't need that anymore.
But this guy, for years, was like, hey, we should go to Halloween Horror Nights. It's really cool. Like, there's all these ghosts, and they've got chains, and they surround you, and there's fog all over the place, and it's really scary and cool.
99 was kind of lame, but like we'll just go and we'll just make it fun.
Yeah.
And everyone, you and Mike were like,
well, no,
Mike.
we were like, yeah, let's go, but then we'd always forget.
He wasn't. No, he wouldn't forget. It was like, money.
Yeah, and then in 2010, I just said to this guy, hey, let's just go, just you and me. We'll pick a day and we'll go. And you were like, all right, well then we're gonna buy our tickets and then we're kind of locked in. I was like, yeah, let's do that. So we foolishly thought we could do all of Horror Nights in one night.
Whoopsie.
We saw a lot of it.
Yeah, and we didn't see any of Islands Adventure or the park during the day. Unfortunately, because we were going for the first time, I was there in '99, but I don't remember it. Because we were there for the first time, you were there for the first time, and I was there for the first time since $19.99.
Yeah.
We kind of wasted some of the night going on attractions that were open during the day. Not a lot, but we went on The Simpsons, and I think we might have gone on Jaws. No, we didn't go on.
No, we
didn't go on Jaws until later.
We at least did Simpsons, which had a little bit of a wait, amazingly.
Not much, but I think we went on something else. We might have gone on Transformers or something.
And we played a game.
Yeah, but that's something we could have done during the day, but we weren't there during the day. And then it became from one night to 2 nights, and then it became 3 nights.
And then we got Freak of Fear.
Yeah, and then eventually we just moved.
Yeah, and we're like, hey, when we went to Hard X 25, we went to Unmasking the Horror.
Yeah.
And the RIP guy was talking to us about the triggers. And like I even like went to a boo hole and I pressed the trigger and I pretended to come out.
Yeah, which is funny because
now I'm a scare actor. And you even said like, dude, it'd be so great if you were a scare actor.
I think you said it first.
Yeah.
And you're like, I want to be a scare actor next year. And I'm like, cool, but that's completely impractical being how far away we live.
Yeah.
And then like I think it was a year later that we moved. I'm like, well, hey, you remember when you said you wanted to be a scare actor?
Yeah.
It's possible now. We didn't at first. We were ops, as you say. We were in attractions because it's a good way to get into the company.
Yeah.
And then you were a scare actor, and I stayed with attractions. But getting back to park announcements, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure is opening on June 13th.
It will be stupid busy.
Yes. And it's also, I was surprised to find out it's going to be the longest roller coaster in Florida, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I didn't think that would be something that it's not the kind of thing that you hear from Universal, and it's a kind of a small space, but it's kind of not that small either because it was a dueling coaster that was there originally, and there's a decent amount of space. So the track is almost a mile long.
And Dragons had 2 different tracks, but they did have both of them had a very good amount of track area.
And I know, RIP, Dueling Dragons, Dragon Challenge. I never won on it, so I don't care.
For a while, I had people come up and, hey, what's going on with Dragons? Where is it? Like, it's sadly no longer with.
Well, that still happens. You just don't.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not as much anymore.
Yeah.
But every time I would work in that area in Hogsmeade, people were like, where is it? Like it's gone. Now, someone asked me about soft opening. The short answer is probably.
We just don't know when.
But that's all I can say. The problem with soft opening is it could be open on one day for a few hours and then something happens and they need to shut it down for the rest of the day. It's not that it's unsafe, it's just it's not ready and they're still testing stuff.
Yeah.
And it might even be something small like, oh, this needs to be moved in the queue or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe it could even be something like, oh, we need to test this specific thing to make sure it works. And then after a couple of hours, they're like, yeah, it works great. And that's all I needed to do that day.
Yeah.
So it might actually close because it's working properly. That's a ride and show kind of a thing. But so they're not going to announce it ahead of time. They're just one day between now and then, they'll like, let's see how it does. Let's see how it works with guests. Okay. People get on. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Looks good. We're good with that. Okay. We're done for the day. So it's impossible to say in advance or even that day if it's going to open, how long it's going to open. It just will.
Yeah.
And I was able to get on Skull Island Rain of Kong when it was soft opening. It's right around when we moved, or when I was looking to move. But And I'm assuming there'll be a team member preview, being that they've been testing this thing for over a month now,
Yeah.
well over a month.
I know they've been doing the, they put the water jugs in it to simulate weight.
Yeah. And it's kind of hard to see now because they have a whole bunch of trees up around it right now.
Yeah.
So, of course, the Today Cafe opened. They had Al Roker. I didn't bother going because it's kind of a tight area. I'm not sure if I'm going to try to go. I have class on the 13th, so I have to leave at some point for that. We don't know what time of the day it'll open. Usually things open really early.
Yeah.
So I might have time to actually go, but being that Hogsmeade is very tight, obviously media and other important people are going to be close by, and then everybody else kind of goes from there. So I might not be able to get close enough to even be worthwhile.
Yeah.
So TBD on that. But Today Cafe has opened, and it looks pretty cool. They did the last minute things. There's like a Today sunrise over the doors in the front, and like I said, I had an orange carpet when it opened, and Al Roker was there. Probably just did his weather report, and that's about it. They wasn't the whole crew, but they had to do something because it's based on their show.
Yeah.
Which has been running for a long time.
Al Roker's been on it a long time.
Yeah, he used to be a lot larger, but he's been thin for a long time now. So good for him for being able to maintain that too.
Yeah.
So also, Big Fire is the new restaurant in City Walk that is coming together really quickly. It's looking really good. Yeah, did you not see? I did post a video from the Today Cafe a little bit ago, part 2 of my preview where I tried the Big Apple cheese. And,
cool.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So maybe go back and look for that. And I did mention that it was based on a recommendation from Kyle from View from the Cheap Seats, which is an amazing channel. Not just that, but he and I can attest that he's a really awesome guy in person.
Yeah.
Really nice. Like every time we see him, he always stops and talks to us for a while, and he's really nice.
I've even I went to MegaCon. I'm wearing my MegaCon shirt.
I'm wearing a me shirt.
I got to see Kyle at MegaCon, and I didn't bug him too much because he was busy, like we're all busy. But
he's like, man, I gotta go. So I'm like, no, damn it, you're gonna stand here and talk to me.
well, yeah, he was like, I was like, hey, Kyle, and he's like, oh, hey, what's up, man? And I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? He's like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna go over to this thing over here. I'm like, all right, cool, man, have fun. So like, but he's always got a smile on his face, and he always stops and just says hi and shakes your hand, and which is really cool.
Yeah. Tim and Jen are like that too.
Yeah.
Every time we see them, every once in a while we'll just wave and pass. And usually it's because I'm at work and we're both busy. We don't have time, but they'll always at least wave. And if not, take time to talk to us. So, so they're really awesome as well. And next month, it was going to be July, but next month the first phase, or the surf side, I believe, of Endless Summer Resort opens. Because of other expenses this year, I'm not going to be staying at that hotel. Plus, it doesn't look all that exciting. I am going to do my best to be there on opening day to show you that. Like I said when I went to work. Oh, yeah. Why? Huh? I wonder why it wouldn't cover Tool.
I know some venues are weird about shooting, but like
You can still talk about it.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You've seen Toll.
Yes.
I have not yet. We were looking at going to see Tool or Roger Waters one year, and Roger Waters was like half the price for pretty good seats. And like the Tool seats were like the worst in the house.
Yeah, it was like
Or twice as much.
nosebleeds.
And it's like, well, let's be honest, Tool will be around a while, most likely.
Little do we know.
Roger, well, they're around, they're just,
Yeah.
they're obviously still doing tours, they're just, but Roger Waters is getting up there in age.
Yeah.
And he could retire at any moment, and, you know, no one's gonna, well, I guess somebody might, because there's always that one, but no one will blame him for not wanting to tour anymore, because, you know, he's been touring on and off for decades.
Brandon says, this is the #1 theme park related live show for Tool Chat.
Oh, you forget to say, hosted by Dave and Brian.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I wanted to go to see Tool, but I'm like, it's probably better to go see Roger Waters, and just hope that I get to see Tool another time.
I do believe when we tried to go, that was the show that, like, the floor, like the open area sold out in 10 minutes. And we had the choice of nosebleeds or nosebleeds, and if you didn't like that, you got the extra nosebleeds.
And since then, we've tried to go to see Tool, and the entire show sold out before we could even, like,
Do anything.
try it, yeah.
Like Dave was like, hey, Brian, you want to see Tool? Oh, hey, guess what? It sold out.
Yep. Live tonight, sold out.
So yeah, like the next time Tool comes around, we should really try to go.
Yeah, but by the time we know about it, it might be too late.
Yeah. I guess this is a good time to do the Tool album update.
There isn't one.
Nothing.
So, yeah, if we ever get a chance to actually buy tickets to Tool, it'd be cool to see them.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they go on tour for they said that they're working on the album, so, you know, we'll see.
Oh, by the way, Brandy, we're sorry we missed you when you were in town.
Yeah, you were working.
Well, I was at MegaCon.
I mean, at MegaCon.
Yeah.
Or something. Sorry you also couldn't go to MegaCon since you were here.
Yeah.
But I was really not feeling well, and
Yeah.
I had to get up super early the next day, and just like, I didn't want to be there and like, then I wouldn't want you to feel all guilty about me coming out.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is not gonna. But we'll see you at Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah. Hopefully so.
You met her, right?
Yeah. Just by chance, I was on my way in, and she was just hanging around the arches, and she's like, "Hey, Brian." I'm like, "Who?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm Phenomenal Brandy, and this is my husband." And I'm like, "Hey, that's cool."
Yeah, because I saw the picture that you posted, and I'm like, oh, funny. Okay. Wish I was there.
Yeah. It was really just chance, like.
Yeah. We are. I'm gonna try to do some sort of meetup around Halloween Horror Nights. I keep forgetting I need to talk to Universal meetings and events to try to make sure I do it officially. But I don't know how much it's going to cost. Obviously, I can't rent a venue, but I don't know. I have to contact them to see. Obviously, they're not going. I can't have staff and all that stuff, but just to be able to not get in trouble, because it's trickier when you work there.
Brandy says, "No worries. Glad you're feeling better. See you all in October."
Yeah. And that's all for park announcements for Universal. I do want to make sure I talk about this thing over here, but that's not a park announcement.
All right.
So you have some breaking news, I guess.
Well, I got a few things I want to talk about. So I don't want to interrupt your list either, but...
well, the next thing I'm going to talk about is park announcements for Disney and Legoland, but I figured we might as well talk about that, like, continue talking about Universal, and we'll move on to Disney and Legoland.
All right. Well, first, I want to talk about some hard related stuff from MegaCon.
Oh, and if you're wondering about his prediction for a new house this year, unfortunately, that didn't happen.
There were a couple T-shirts spots that I could buy from, but it was all pop culture stuff. Like I could have gotten like some like Disney shirts or like some anime shirts or like stuff like that. The guy who was selling all those horror shirts, he wasn't there this year, or at least I couldn't find him.
And you were there like 15 days in a row.
Yeah, I was there like for like 7 years, and the merch area was huge. And like I walked all around the place, and it's also organized very well, which is something I like about MegaCon. Is like there's the artist section, and there's the community section, and there's the.
You should have bought a House of the Thousand Corpses shirt. You like that movie?
Yeah.
Probably you would if you found one.
Yeah. So basically, I don't have a prediction shirt. I didn't see any shirts I really liked that I wanted to buy, except for like the MegaCon one.
MegaCon.
This was really cool that I ended up buying. It's a Cary, Ohio poster. This is full of Halloween Horror Nights lore. Cary, Ohio, part of the Wyandotte County. The C stands for quality, which is from Leave It to Cleaver. So you got HR Blood and Guts, the usher, the caretaker, the director. This guy from Acid Assault 21. This cheerleader from the Die-In Scare Zone. The Havoc War Dog from Hive. The guys from Zap from Zombiegeddon. I think this guy's from Creatures from Hard Nights 18. The Orphanage. So this is really cool. And the artist who made this was also a scare actor.
Oh, okay.
And he also is a driver in the Superstar Parade.
Cool.
And then I bought, Brandy, I'm going to answer your question. I am officially cast in Horror Nights 29, so I am in House 9, whatever that is going to be. I am cast A again, but I don't think we're staying screen. My in time is a little later than it was last year, so I might not get as much time to enjoy the event as I did. But once
That's sad. But you're going to be going to opening night.
yes, yeah, I'll be doing that. And once I know where I am, I'll tell everybody. And
When it's time when you're allowed to really
Yeah,
such
yeah.
things.
which is why they don't tell us now, because hey, you know that house that nobody else knows about? Guess who knows?
Yeah. And they're well, I guess they know about your house is that there's that possibility of like maybe moving you to a different house if they need you. So,
Possibly, yeah.
I don't know if they do that, but you know.
Well, things also change
Yeah.
as well.
Whole houses can change sometimes.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, cool news for me. So yeah, I wanted to. Should I do my review now?
No, we'll talk about that in the movie
Okay.
section.
Right.
Well, I don't want to talk about what I did specifically, for all kinds of different reasons, but I made a little oopsie and did something which I thought was going to be silly, but others said that it was potentially offensive. It's kind of a broad definition of offensive, but it was supposed to be silly, and because of that, I am restricted from auditioning until July.
Yeah.
So I've had 2 auditions so far, and I've had to cancel them, and so basically I haven't auditioned yet, and when I do, then I'll know if I'm going to be cast. So unfortunately, if you want to know if I'm going to be in Halloween Horror Nights this year, so do I.
Now, the good news and the bad news is you can still audition, You will be super last minute. You might
Yeah.
catch like one of the last ones, because rehearsals start in August.
Yeah.
But that's also the bad news is like you might miss out this year.
I am going for reserve for several reasons. So it could still work out because I'm pretty much being the fill-in guy, which, you know, that's probably one of the last things to cast, or it can be the last things to cast, because then I'm not going to put it availability so where I can be
Hardcast.
yeah.
Whereas I'm hardcast because I had a lot of availability and I'll be in one place, kind of like Solar Cinema.
And I'm doing that for multiple reasons. One of them is availability. I do freelance work, and I haven't been able to do a lot of it, and it pays a lot better. So if I'm reserved, then I might only be working the weekends. And also, I don't know how it's going to work for me for being a scare actor. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up the hype every night. You know, if I'm going to be like, oh God, they're all coming for me, or what, you know. So this will let me be like, if it turns out awful, I won't have to be doing it every single night. So we'll see. So that's an announcement that will be made as soon as I can. But right now, I'm just waiting for the right audition date to come. So I believe that covers. Oh, did you show them your premium Batman badge?
Oh. So, MegaCon, like when you do this, when you get premium, you get a free lanyard. So, yeah, this is cool. Add to my little lanyard collection. I don't want to. So a friend of mine who also is in my department has like a crazy amount of lanyards, and like when he's out of uniform, like he'll wear them, and it looks like a big bundle of. I don't want to get that crazy with it, but I kind of like getting lanyards. They're always fun.
The funny thing is, I started off when you buy the one-day ticket, you get a lanyard. Say it like that. Of course, it just says what day it is.
Yeah.
Or not lanyard. The actual.
Oh, the
card,
badge. Yeah.
The badge. And so I started off the day with a lanyard from you, which was like a black piece of rope.
Yeah, yeah.
Where did you get that?
That was the initial one. So when I went and I picked up my stuff, the initial lanyard was that little black basic one, but I get a free lanyard.
Oh, so they gave you both.
Yeah. Well, there were several lanyards, so the reason they didn't give me this is because I had an option.
Okay.
There was like 4 different ones, and I chose the Back to the Future one. I don't know if you can tell, but it's the Back to the Future font. It's
All right, Randy. Enjoy the movie, and thanks for watching. Yeah, like I said, I need the watch time, and it's been a while, but thanks for joining us. I'm probably gonna have to lose the chat when this uploads, because I'm gonna have to trim off the beginning of it.
Oh.
Sorry. But we usually always read the comments anyway, so if you're watching on replay, that'll be a good way. For some stupid reason, YouTube, when you edit a comment, edit a video that was live, it deletes the entire live chat on the side, which is annoying. But
Yeah.
So I started off with the lanyard that Brian gave me, and then 5 Hour Energy was giving out lanyards for playing the basketball game, which I predictably did terribly on. So I switched to that as wearing a 5 Hour Energy lanyard for mine, and then I went to the Dave School booth, which is a visual effects school that we have on property at Universal.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, obviously I should get a lanyard that says Dave on it. So I switched to, in the course of one day, I had 3 different lanyards for my pass. So
Cool. Yeah.
yep. So Now we're going to move on to Disney.
All right.
Now the NBA experience, I thought it was going to be a restaurant like the NBA City. Was it? No.
Yeah.
The NBA City was in City Walk until a few years ago. It actually is not. It's an interactive experience with 13 different interactive areas where you can shoot basketball. The pictures I saw, they have like a court, and you can shoot some hoops and a bunch of other things that they haven't really revealed. But there's 13 different areas. That's why they say that you need to have like athletic shoes, and maybe you'll be doing some training, mock training exercises and stuff. Why are you growling?
Shh. She doesn't like basketball, I guess.
No, I guess that's why she's my dog. It's going to be $34 per person if you're over 10 years old. So good news for you.
Hooray!
It's only $29 if you're under 10 years old. And those are without tax. There's tax added to that as well.
But that sounds cool. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to be like a VR thing, maybe.
Not from what I saw was like a physical basketball net. There might be. I doubt there's VR stuff in it, but I think it's all going to be physical, hands-on stuff. That's why they say if you go to the website, it'll tell you more of the details. But yeah, you need to have certain athletic gear to do that.
Cool.
And the 24th annual Epcot International Food and Wine Festival, it's going to be 87 days this year, and it is August 29th through November 23rd.
Yeah.
I've not gone to that yet, at least. I actually, or at least I may have been in the park during that, but I've never actually gone to the different stations and tried all the food and wine because I forget the exact cost, but it was $80 some. It's pretty expensive, and I don't drink wine, so.
Well, I don't think you need to get the wine. You can at least try the food.
Well, that's the whole part that makes it expensive is to try the wine.
Oh, yeah.
Then otherwise it's like cheese and crackers. And that's a lot of money.
From what I've heard, it's every country in Epcot has their own food, and it's more than cheese and crackers. Like it's I don't know what it is. I've never been, but like I've heard from people who've gone that they have like authentic food from the country, and it's stuff you can't get any other time of year, which is why food and wine is a big thing to people.
I figured that the focus was mostly on the wine.
Not from what I understand. Like, as far as I know, I think the wine is like these like little like sample bottles. But I mean, I've never been. This is all hearsay. I do know that they set up like these little food stations in every country. So like Mexico, you can get like a Mexican dish, and then Canada and France and Norway and the whole bit. And it's like food you can't get any other time of year. That's why food and wine is a big thing.
Right. I just remember when my sister visited a few years ago, it was I had an annual pass, but she would have to buy a ticket to get in,
Yeah.
and the Food and Wine Festival itself was kind of expensive, so we're like, nah.
Well, like yeah, if you're trying to sample everything, like every food station you go to, you're paying for the food.
Well, it's a one fee for the whole thing.
The way I heard it is, if you go like to Norway and you buy that food, it's a certain amount, and then if you go to America and you buy the food, then that's another amount. So like if you're going like
Well, maybe
around,
there's several options, but what I saw was there's like kind of like a tasting menu, I think.
oh maybe so.
But it was one cost to do it. So, and then work, of course, continues on Epcot, which will be transformed significantly, including the new Guardians of the Galaxy attraction, which they are well along the way with. I shot a little bit of that when we went to Moonlight Magic.
Yeah.
Or I think, or it might have been the day that, it might have been on the 30th anniversary day, when I went over there briefly. But that's going to be a huge project. I hope they can figure out how to make the monorail, when you get off the monorail, have the security outside of that, because right now when you go to Magic Kingdom or wherever and you get on the monorail, you've already gone through security. When you get off the monorail, you have to go through security again.
Yeah.
And I was trying to say that to someone, and they're like, "Ooh, I'd rather be safe." I'm like, "No, you don't understand. I was already screened once." So
Yeah.
it would be like if in Epcot, every time you went from one country to another, to have to go through security again.
Yeah.
It's like good to be safe, but like there's a point where you aren't any safer.
Yeah, it ends up being a delay.
Yeah. So they did that with the transportation and ticketing center. They moved the security area so that when you go now the other way around works. If you go from Epcot to the transportation and ticketing center, you can then go straight to Magic Kingdom and without having to go through security, because you're already inside of the security area. Just the way back doesn't work right now, because that's not how the were set up, because they were open like way before.
Yeah.
There were security concerns, which is where Universal, I'm not sure what their original motivation was, but they were lucky that they had that giant rotunda where the security area is now, because that was built in '99, and there weren't bag checks and all that stuff back then, but luckily there's enough space for all that to be there. So when they're rebuilding, and I know that they're rebuilding that area where the trams drop you off, so hopefully that's what they're doing, but we'll see. And they're still building that silly gondola system. Should be, I'm not sure if there's a date for when that opens, but that's coming along, and it's going to be open soon.
Well, I've always liked gondolas, so I'm kind of looking forward to it.
It just seems like a weird thing to put in.
I mean, they're fun. That's why. Yeah, it's all right. So it's a transportation thing, but yeah, you're gonna have to get in line to go on it. So some people are gonna opt to walk or take the tram or monorail or whatever.
And also, from what I can see, they're not even air conditioned, so people are gonna whine about that.
Well, you get a nice little breeze, I guess.
Yes. Well, at least it doesn't smell like the monorail. So, moving on to Legoland, their pirate-themed hotel is opening soon. It's actually a little bit ahead of schedule. It is a add-on to the Legoland Hotel, which is already the on-site hotel. It's literally building on the side of it, so this is going to expand that, which will be nice. Also, when I was there most recently, I can't show you it, but I was told I can say it, they are building a miniature golf course in the back of the Legoland Hotel, which will be exclusive to the Legoland, the Pirate, I should have written down the exact name of the Pirate Hotel, and the slightly off-site
the beach bungalow.
Beach retreat.
Yeah.
If you're not staying at those hotels, you can't go to the mini golf course. I wanted to shoot video of the course, but it's not finished yet. And I was with one of the marketing people, and they're like, "Yeah, you can say it, but don't shoot it yet, because they don't want to show it until it's ready." As soon as it opens, I'm going to go back down there and shoot that as well.
Okay, cool.
So, there will also be a video coming very soon. For the Legoland Florida is built for kids, and I was like, well, so what does that really mean? And so I teamed up with them and shot a nice video on
Oh, cool.
But that's a victim of me not having my computer to edit right now. So it'll be sometime in June for that.
Cool.
Also, Red, White, and Boom. It will be July 4th to the 6th. And that's like what we saw during the trick or treat, where there's a bunch of fireworks and you put on special sort of glasses, and all the little fireworks look like Lego bricks.
Yeah, which is really cool.
So they do that for Red, White, and Boom, which of course is the 4th of July thing, even though it goes to the 6th. And new this year is the Lego Movie Days, which will be July 13th to the 14th, the 20th, the 20th and the 21st, the 27th, the 28th, and August 3rd to the 4th. Obviously, I'm going to try to get down there and shoot some of that. Unfortunately, it's on weekends, which works out for most people, but not us. So I'm going to have to take off time for that. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to be there on the 13th and the 14th because I will be in California on those days. So maybe the 20th, the 21st, or it might not be till August. We'll see when it gets closer.
Yeah.
So that concludes our park announcements.
Oh, by the way, I also have off on the opening of the Brick or Treat if you want to go back. That's all.
Yeah, we've already discussed this.
Okay.
That was the plan. That's why you took the day off.
Oh.
I was talking about more closer things.
Oh, okay.
July and early August.
Okay.
That stuff comes later. So one other thing before we get to Brian's review, a few days ago was the 20th anniversary of Dogma, which opened on May 21st in France for the Cannes Film Festival, and it was sort of my gateway drug to Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Now it almost was it Dogma?
No, you almost saw Mallrats.
Mallrats.
Yeah.
Because the high school I went to, if we were good, we were allowed to go to the mall once a week because it was a boarding school, and we were not allowed off campus otherwise. And I saw the poster for Mallrats and like, oh, that looks pretty cool. But there was some other movie that was playing, and I'm like, I'm going to see that. I'll see Mallrats next week. And it was already out of the theater.
Yeah,
so
lasted 1 week.
And so it wasn't until Dogma came out. And the only reason I saw Dogma was because all the groups who protested the movie, and I was like, oh man, now I want to see it.
Yeah.
And then once I saw that, I went back and watched Clerks, and I don't know how many movies it came out. I forget how many movies it came out with then. It wasn't until Clerks 2 that I saw a Kevin Smith movie in the theater.
Yeah.
Because again, I wanted to see Mallrats, but that was a pretty cool movie. And
Yeah.
of course, it had George Carlin and Chris Rock
Yeah.
in it, and some pretty silly effects. And Kevin Smith himself joined the protesters one.
Oh yeah.
And it was on some local news channel, and like a person who looks a lot like director Kevin Smith, of course it was.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big thing. There's a few movies that were. 1999 was an amazing year for movies.
Yeah.
So I just picked out a few of them that were also had the 20th anniversary this year. So, and then speaking of 20 years, it's been about 20 years since I bought this DVD for Brian, and he finally saw it.
So,
And it ties into Kevin Smith as well.
yeah. So, what this is a documentary about food, especially food in America. It's from Lori David, not Larry David, Lori David, producer of An Inconvenient Truth, and it's narrated by Katie Couric. This is a movie that Kevin Smith actually saw, and if you've seen Kevin Smith very recently,
Or not even like the last few years.
yeah, he's skinny. He's always been a bit not fat. He's been
His weight varied a
yeah,
lot.
but he was a pretty husky dude.
Yeah.
You know, like a bigger guy. And he said he watched this, and food was explained to him in a way that it's never been before. So he
finally got it.
Yeah, he changed his diet, and now he's very skinny. I used to be very skinny, and I wouldn't say I'm I'm a little overweight. I'm 260 pounds, and I would like to. I'd like to lose some weight. And this really talks about it. This guy bought it for me last September, and I didn't end up watching it for. I'd always come home and I'd be tired, and I wouldn't have the energy for a movie. And
But he had the energy to ride your bike all the way to the movie theater and pay to see a movie.
Yeah, I suppose. So I did watch it. I watched it all the way through, and it talks about a few things, but it's basically about food in America and what is in our food that. Because America, I know it's a cliche thing, but America does have a weight problem, and this talks about it, and it makes a lot of sense. So they also follow 4 high school kids, 3 males and 1 female, and they have problems with weight. And this one male, he's the oldest out of like 4 boys, and he's the only one with a weight problem. Like all of his brothers can eat whatever they want, and they're skinny. He actually watches his diet, and he tries to exercise, and he can't keep the weight down. And he's very frustrated about that, and it talks of, well, there's like many things going on, but like it's metabolism, and a lot of it, I'll get down to the bottom of it. It gives us like some solution, and it's basically avoid processed food, try to avoid sugar, but sugar's in everything. It's not necessarily exercise, it's not necessarily calorie counting, because they point out a calorie isn't always a calorie. And the example they give is if you have a serving of almonds, that's going to be this many calories, but the body processes that in a different way because it's not processed, it's a natural raw food. So while you've got those calories, the body is just like, okay, well, almonds, all right. Now, if you have a slice of pizza, let's say...
Pizza is a vegetable, Brian.
They even talk about that in this. It's been processed. Like there's different things in that food, so the body is going to process it differently. Now, if you have a lot of sugar in your diet, what happens is it has to go through the liver. And then when the liver gets overwhelmed, the pancreas starts taking over. But, like even then, the body can't process things quick enough, so that's where weight gain comes in. The girl that they follow, she like swims 4 days a week, she kayaks, she does a lot of exercising, but she can't keep the weight down. She talks about like at her school, the cafeteria has these corporate companies that come in and offer, lunch, but it's like Papa John's one day, McDonald's the other day, and somebody else, like 5 days out of the week, they've got like a corporate business there offering food. And they interviewed a cafeteria worker, and she said, well, look, we've got healthy options. We do. We've got this and this, but like we've got like maybe 5 kids who choose that out of like the entire school. So it's up to the person to watch their diet as well. Because like, she goes to lunch, she's like, can I have a cheeseburger? They're like, oh yeah, here. And she's sad because she can't keep the weight down, even though she's trying, but like it's an all-encompassing thing. Like, and I know like a lot of people have, they have to follow these very strict diets, and it's horrible. Like it's gotta be, because there's like this better option like right here. Hey, you want it? It's right there. And then there's the snack machines all over the place and everything. So yeah, it comes down to they pointed out sugar being in everything. Like even places you wouldn't expect. Like there's sugar in pasta. There's sugar in diet foods, not like low calorie foods, and the whole bit. And why? Because if you take away, like if you have like the non-fat option, it doesn't taste very good. So what do? Pump it with sugar. And they call it, like there's like a whole list of things that end up being sugar, but the body can't tell the difference. Like the non-glucose diet, glucose. I'm sorry, the non-glucose diet. It's really like low sugar, non-sugar diets, but it's because the body can't process. Body processes sugar like all the same way. Like if it's raw sugar, natural sugar, sweet and low, whatever, it all gets processed the same way by the body. So really you try to cut sugar out of your diet and you'll be doing better. Cook food at home, avoid processed food, don't go to fast food. I remember I used to work at Burger King and we could hear the drive-through over the speaker so we could start making it, even though the person's got the headset. We would laugh sometimes because like people would order like 4 Whoppers with cheese and extra fries, like the extra large fries and a Diet Coke, and we're like, the Diet Coke's not going to do anything for you, you know. Yeah, you think you're cutting calories, but really, you know.
Diet Coke's probably worse for you anyway.
Well, there's still, it says diet, but it's still, yeah, it's still a lot of sugar in there. Sugar's bad in sodas, but really, like, unless you're drinking water, like, sugar's gonna be in anything.
Yeah.
I think this is very good. It's not even that expensive. It's I think less than $10 is what you bought off Amazon.
There's that's the DVD, and then of course it's on Blu-ray as well.
Oh yeah, sure.
It might be on digital download somewhere. I didn't look. It's a lot harder to hand somebody a download.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just get the DVD.
Thank you. I learned some things, and some things I was aware of, like not all food is good for you. Even though, like, there's a McDonald's or a Burger King or a Wendy's on every corner.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could go there and you're like, especially like if you're kind of in a hurry or you need something now, yeah, like hit something fast food, but it's not that good for you. That's all processed food.
Yeah. Just like American cheese is apparently not even actually cheese.
Yeah.
And it's also not as good.
Yeah, I remember like learning that when they tried to make cheese like that, like it wasn't forming correctly.
Yeah.
And they had to, like, you know, put like different things in there to make it like form and stay formed. Yeah. And like yeah, American cheese is bad with that, especially like if you're getting like Kraft singles or something. And also, like, there's different things that food companies do to get your attention and get your dollar. There's the happy mascots, or you know, like the package of the design of the package. Sorry, and doing things like diet, low fat, low calorie, like no sugar, less sugar, you know, all the things.
Or even more vague things like healthy.
Yeah.
And stuff like, what does healthy mean?
Yeah.
It's whatever you want it to mean. There's no set meaning for it. So if they want to claim it as healthy, they can say it's healthy because they can't be disproved. Like you can prove if something is 10 ounces, but healthy, what's that?
Yeah. Now, I also learned that you can put whatever you want on the front, like healthy,
Yeah.
organic.
Well, organic has to be, well, if it's certified organic.
Yeah, you can put whatever you on that front of the package, like non-GMO or you know, whatever you want. You can put anything that you want on there as long as the nutrition information is correct.
Yeah.
Now, the nutrition information can also be confusing because it says like, our serving size is this, and this points out that if you look at the sugar, like it'll say like 25 grams of sugar, everything else has a percentage of the daily recommended allowance. Sugar doesn't have that until at least very recently. Like when I saw that, I started looking. I was like, because they say sugar like 25 grams, but then it'll be blank over in the percentage. And it's because if it did put the percentage, it'd be like 125% or something like that. It'd be like a crazy amount. That's why it says cut out sugar, because like sugar is what's really probably doing it. I've always liked like the food mascots, like and I know it's a marketing thing. I know it is. Hey, you know, like look at this friendly thing, you know, like or this friendly guy, like you know, like it's meant to make you feel good, make you meant to feel happy, and makes you want to try to buy it or you know like it, because it messes with your nostalgia, which kind of bothers me because I do like the artwork, especially on cereal mascots or food mascots or whatever it is. But yeah, it's all a marketing thing.
And what we used to see all the time, and it's now hilarious to think of, is something cereal is part of this nutritious breakfast, and there's like 15 different items on there to compensate for what's not in the cereal.
Yeah, my dad pointed that out when I was a kid. It's like, well, you got to look. You're like, what do they got there? They got the bowl of cereal, a glass of milk, a glass of orange juice, an apple, and an orange.
Stella.
And like pancakes or waffles or something, and
I think it was like toast or something.
Yeah.
Just like a few other things.
And he was like, well, look at the key word, like what they're saying, part of a complete breakfast.
Yeah.
So like if you just have the cereal, and it depends on the cereal, like some cereals are pretty decent. They're low in sugar.
Most cereals are sugary.
It depends. Like if you're getting Frosted Flakes, you're eating sugar.
But they're great.
Yeah, and that's part of the marketing. You got 20-30. They're great.
The funny thing is, I just recently found out that grape nuts, which has no grapes or nuts and tastes awful, is actually bad for you.
Why?
It's what's in it. Really unhealthy. You're like, well, that's a rare thing where it tastes awful and it's bad for you. Like, so it's like a lose-lose-lose. Like, why would you buy it?
Now
I tried to eat it once and I'm like, oh, this is terrible.
Now the question comes up is, well, if food companies know that this is bad for you, why are they doing it? And
because people keep buying their product.
well, there's more than that. There's also everybody, no matter who you are, it doesn't matter your politics or your religion or your whatever it is. Everybody needs food. So they've got a lot of real estate that they need to compete over because there's a lot of food companies. So there's the thing about like, all right, if we say this and this and then we put this on there, then you know like they need to make money. And you know that sounds cold and hard and corporate. But I mean it's the truth. Like every company needs to make money to survive. It's just the truth of it. So if you look at the cereal aisle, there's a whole lot of real estate that they gotta fight over. And yeah, like you'll see a lot of cereals from the big companies like General Mills and you know others like that. But like you know like how are you gonna survive? Well, you gotta do everything you can to you know sell your product. And so, you know, there's that. And then they were talking about, so the whole thing about pizza being a vegetable is, I think it was back in the 70s.
Oh, was that long ago?
It was like the late 70s, like early 80s. There was like things going through Congress about the quality of the food. And so food companies offered, okay, well, we'll work with schools and you know we'll help provide healthy options. And one of them ended up being like a cleverly worded thing about like, well, pizza can be a vegetable because it's got tomato sauce,
which is actually fruit.
Yeah. So and yeah, that it's funny because like tomatoes are fruit because it's above ground. Anything that's above ground is a fruit, and anything below ground is a vegetable, but that's not always the case because strawberries can be underground. So
I think it has seeds. There's certain things that make it a vegetable or fruit.
Yeah. So there's like there's some shady things that happen with food, especially in America.
Always the lobbies.
Yeah. So if you like, give this movie a watch. It might be beneficial to you, like Kevin Smith, and
I just remember you said because when I first met you, you were like impossibly skinny.
yeah,
And you said you were trying to lose weight, and I was like, well, it worked for Kevin Smith. Maybe you'll pick up some stuff from that. I didn't watch it yet at that time, but I'm like, he pretty much recommended it because he said that's the thing that it made to flip the switch for him. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll see if you like it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I told you about it, and like, well, maybe you'll buy it, and it's like, no, you won't. So like, I guess I'll buy it, and give you the DVD, so you'll have it. It's easier to watch than maybe I'll buy it. Maybe maybe tomorrow. Or,
Well, I'm actually glad because I would have actually looked for a physical copy, like at Best Buy or something, and you just were like, oh, it's straight to the internet, and then.
Yeah, it's not popular enough because Best Buy sells a lot of stuff, and DVDs and Blu-ray aren't sold as much anymore, so they don't have the space.
Well, they sell a lot of, but it's all like the popular stuff, like
but I mean they don't have enough space for things like that aren't going to move very many copies, so it probably won't be there. Like the 20th anniversary of Office Space. I don't think you can even buy that in the store, just because it's new, but it's not new.
Yeah. But yeah, like it is very good, and you could argue it's biased, but it's biased on the health side. So I don't see who would dislike this unless you work for a major food company, and like even then, like maybe there were like things you didn't know, and you're like, well, maybe it's time for a different career. I don't know.
But it could be available on like Netflix streaming and stuff like that. I didn't look because giving it to somebody else kind of needed to be a physical copy.
Yeah.
So, all right. So are you ready?
I think so. Yeah. It's time to unbox.
This, I know what it is. This literally came to the door half hour before the stream, maybe 20 minutes before the stream.
Yeah.
So this is going to be featured on my new channel, Dave Tech. So I figured do an unboxing here. Here we got a bracket. Always exciting power cable.
Those are cool.
And in here, we have,
Woo!
this stuff falls all over the place, a fun toy.
Isn't that cool, Myrtle? Look at it.
Here, why don't you play with this?
Yay!
It is a LED moving head light, which I'm going to learn how to control in the class I'm taking. But it has what's called gobos in it, which makes patterns, and there's different colors, and it'll be able to, once it's plugged in, spin around and move and make some patterns on the wall. So hopefully in future versions of Dave and Brian Live, I'm gonna try to buy a couple more of these and have them mounted on the ceiling, so when we have our intro music back again, you can have these moving around and making shapes and maybe have some fog in here and stuff like that. So, but that is what I'm learning how to program right now. So I figured I'd have a, what did you do?
I had to reload.
Oh, okay. But there's nobody in the chat room.
Yeah.
So right now, I can't really control it with that software, but it'll be something cool. So that when I'm learning software in school, I can actually have something to control on my computer here. So that just arrived literally as we're getting ready to go. I knew it was arriving today, but luckily it didn't arrive during the show, and like I figured was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, oh, we have 2 people watching now. Yeah, you and I.
Oh.
So yeah, again, because we're streaming off of my phone, we have our laptops here and we're watching our own stream because that's the only way I can figure to watch the chat. Probably going to have the laptop up on the desk in the future when I go back to using my SLR to stream, but it's just going to be the computer I'm streaming from, so we're not going to be watching ourselves going out to YouTube, out to wherever the server is, all the way back to the internet, right back to here.
Yeah.
But that's the only way I can figure out how to do it today. So
Yeah.
that is our show for today. I don't even know how long it's been.
We've been going a good hour 22.
So hopefully made it all the way through. And sorry it was a cluster.
Well, it's different circumstances. You should see it. He's got his iPhone jerry-rigged to a tripod. So
Yeah, and the audio would have been a lot worse if I didn't have this interface.
yeah,
My test runs, it was a little background noisy, so hopefully it won't be.
Brandy said the noise wasn't bad. We just had to turn up our mics.
Yeah. But next time, I'm not sure when the next show will be, but definitely I'll have my new laptop, and we'll be back to the other old, the usual setup. I'm going to probably put up the green again, so we have the consistent background and all that stuff, and we won't be like off to one side of the frame, and all that goody stuff. And eventually, we're going to move to having 2 microphones, sort of like this, so that we have better audio as well.
Yeah.
This way, it's individual microphones, so you can separate better, and so I can adjust our levels better. But until then, sorry, I'm going to have to unplug my microphone. It's going to be a little bit of a pop, so you might want to turn your speakers down a little bit if you're still watching. Oh, and once I do that, I'm not going to be on camera anymore, so I'm going to stop the stream in a second, so thanks for watching. Please share. I'm not going to say this 100 times like I did for the descriptions, but please watch some of the other episodes of this show. Share. Hopefully you'll be watching them, but if you want to watch some of the older episodes and kind of, do something else or minimize it and walk away, as long as it's streaming, that'd be cool. But hopefully you'll want to watch it too. So,
Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night. RIP headphone users.